time to get your fix. Come on down, get your horrible gaming review. 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 Wow.
Hello, my name is Zach Rye with Old Man Gaming. Welcome back to another horrible game review. Now, before we get into it, a couple of disclaimers. Number one, the word horrible in the title of this content does not necessarily mean the game or DLC that I'm reviewing is horrible. It just means that the actual review itself is probably pretty bad. I do snap judgment reviews here, so I get about 5 to 10 hours with the games that I'm reviewing, and that's it. So I'm just trying to give you an idea of whether you're going to have fun right off the bat. My next disclaimer is that I do not give scored reviews here on this channel. I don't believe in them. I believe video games are one of the most subjective forms of art, and therefore I will give you the overview of what the game is, the pros, the cons, and whether or not I'm going to stick with it. So today I am reviewing Mario 3D All-Stars. This is kind of a tricky one for me because, let's face it, it's 3 games, not 1. Yeesh. Okay, so the way I'm going to go through this is I'm going to give you kind of a general overview of all 3. Then I'll try and give you pros and cons of all 3. So this is going to be kind of tricky. Like I said, bear with me. So here are the 3 games collected in 3D All-Stars. First, you've got Mario 64. Mario 64 was originally released in 1998, I think. It is for Nintendo 64, and it was the first foray of Mario into the 3D space, and one of the more earlier 3D games, honestly. It's also hailed as one of the first 3D platformers. The story of the game is very simple, and it basically sets up every kind of formula for every 3D Mario to follow. The idea being it's almost open world in the sense that Princess Peach gets caught in a castle with Bowser, and you have to move up the castle. Certain doors are opened by power stars. You collect power stars by going to a map, and then that map you'll do repeatedly, but each time you do it, it'll have some sort of course change to it, which allows you to collect a different power star. There's also hidden power stars, lots of secrets in the game, but the idea is you can collect all the power stars, you can collect just what you need to move up to the next level, and you can switch between different maps, go to whatever you feel is necessary at the time. That being said, let's go ahead and move on to Mario Sunshine, which is the second game collected in this. Mario Sunshine was the GameCube one. It was early 2000s. I don't have a date. And basically the idea of this is it's kind of the follow-up to Mario 64. It has a lot of the same mechanics. However, your main attack mechanics are this water sprayer, this sentient water sprayer on your back. The game's story is pretty lunatic bananas. Right off the bat, you're heading on vacation with Princess Peach, and then you get framed for a bunch of vigilante nonsense that's going on at the place that you're going on vacation for. You get put in prison and then put on probation, at which point you have to like clean up the city to make up for the things that the imposter did. It's totally wild. Within the early points of that, you meet this sentient water bottle that basically hooks to your back. It allows you to levitate with like a water spray, or you can kind of like manually aim it or just quick fire it at things. And then the idea is most of the bad guys come from this goop stuff on the ground, which you have to kind of like spray and clean up. That's basically that game, but the same basic premise for the star collection is the same. They're called shines in this game, but it's the same thing. You unlock a new area by getting new shine, by getting a certain amount of shines, and then you can repeatedly run the same areas in different ways for different shines. And then you slowly unlock more and more of the game. That brings us to the Wii Mario, the Wii 3D Mario that's in this collection, which would be the original Super Mario Galaxy. In this game, the overview is Bowser kidnaps Peach, goes into space where oxygen and asphyxiation has no bearing on anything, and then decides to make his own galaxy. Mario then meets Rosalina for the first time, who is kind of the protector of these star creatures called Lumas. She's got a busted ship that Bowser broke, and you have to collect power stars to restore parts of the ship. As you restore parts of the ship, it will allow you to fly to different galaxies and different planets and different systems therein. This game is really pretty on that level. It's probably the prettiest and most together of all of them. There's no weird there's no weird water bottle mechanic to it. The camera is very well flushed out in this one. But a lot of the platforming revolves around everything has its own gravitational pull and is considered a planet. So, like, you can walk around on the bottom of things or the sides of things. So, if you like the feeling of vertigo, this is definitely the entry for you. Now, before we get into the pros and cons, these are direct ports. There's nothing really added to them except some small colored graphical additions. So, and we're going to talk about that a little bit on the cons. So let's go to pros. Again, since this is 3 games, I'm going to have to try and do the pros and cons in order per each game. So this is going to be tough. I apologize if it gets confusing. Like I said, kind of a new thing, me doing a collection here. So the first game we need to talk about is Mario 64. All right, so this game is very clearly the game that needed the most amount of polish and didn't get any love. That being said, it is amazing to have this game on an updated system. So my first pro is just that this exists. And you're able to play it on a Switch. It's wonderful. That's probably going to be my only pro for that one. We're going to talk about that one a lot in the cons. The next game will be Super Mario Sunshine. Mario Sunshine is interesting because while it looks very the same as the other games, and its format is very the same as the other games, it's very different in how it plays. But I would say its pro right off the bat is the craziness of the storyline. I don't think I've played a mainstream Mario that's so bonkers as this one. It really just takes you all over the place, and I'm sure Bowser's going to get involved at some point. But right now, Bowser isn't the bad guy, and I'm kind of enjoying that change of pace as well. My next pro for Mario Sunshine... My big pro for Mario Sunshine is the means of attack. And I like the water sprayer. I think it was a very interesting idea to put it in front of a Mario game. So you're really not jumping on a lot of things. Or if you are, you got to hit them with the water first. I like the idea of cleaning stuff up, which is really nice and cool. There's something to that's a lot of fun. There's also a ton of collectibles in this game, but that's a separate thing. Then let's go to Mario Galaxy. Pros all around for Mario Galaxy. In my opinion, this is one of the greatest. It's one of the greatest, if not the best, 3D platformer that has ever existed. The game is just so interesting and awesome, and Mario Galaxy didn't need a touch-up, in my opinion. And it doesn't get one here, and it doesn't matter. It's that good. It's just so good. And every time I boot up 3D All-Stars, that's the one I gravitate to. I kind of had to force myself to play the other two just for this review. So on a pro, that game's amazing, and I'm glad that it's on the Switch. The next pro I'm going to give for Super Mario Galaxy is the way that they switched up the motion controls is very interesting. So in the original Mario Galaxy, you had this little pointer on the screen at all times because it was for the Wii. That would be the Wii monitor. You could hit the trigger on that controller, and it could fire a little star bit at things, which was a necessary part of the game. Or you also had this ability where, like, anything the pointer touched, star bits wise, it would collect. So the pointer was kind of a big thing, and a lot of people were wondering how they were going to do this for the Switch, specifically in handheld mode. So when it's docked, you can only do it with 2 Joy-Cons. You can't even have the Joy-Cons in controller mode. We're going to talk about that in the cons. But when it's in handheld, it's touchscreen. And while it was a little bit tricky to get used to at first, that I had to constantly take my hand off the one thing. Like I had to take my hand off the buttons, my right hand off to tap the star bits. It actually works really well, like surprisingly well. I will say it's a little weak when you have to like aim it and shoot the star bits at something, but for collecting, it's great. It makes it so easy, it's quick, it's nice, and it's real sharp, and I liked that change as far as what they did. So let's move to the cons. All right, so con number 1 for Mario 64. Okay, here's the biggest problem with this collection. The biggest problem is none of these games got any sort of remastering, any sort of touch-ups, except for some slight amount of color up-resing. Because of that, it shows the most in Mario 64. The biggest complaint that people had about Mario 64 was the abysmal camera. That's got to be talked about here in the con section. It's still abysmal. It's absolutely awful. I cannot count the amount of times that I'm stuck in a tree or whatever. And while you can move the camera, which you could before, the minute you start moving with Mario, the camera just readjusts to where you don't want it to be. That camera is terrible. And you have to remember, this is one of the first 3D platformers. They were still figuring out camera work back then. And that's why it is the way it is. However, we're in 2020. We're getting these versions again. I don't understand why they couldn't just take one pass at that camera. I would honestly be more okay with my second con if they had just done that. Like, just that would have been a huge, awesome change to this game. My next con for Mario 64 is the blocky graphics are still there. While they have up-resed the graphics for color, it is still blocky as all heck. Everything is very square, very triangular. It is very, very old school as far as Mario 64 is concerned. And that's not fun. Mario 64 is the game that did not hold up. And it shouldn't have had to. They should have taken another pass at this and made some proper changes. One of my biggest problems here, too, is a fan actually made Mario 64 in the Unreal Engine. It looked gorgeous. It played beautifully. And Nintendo made them take it down to give us this. Look, just make it better or let the people play the good one that a fan did. I think this is the biggest annoyance to this whole collection is the lack of touch-ups on that game. The other two, like Sunshine's a little dated, but the other two could have played on their own. 64 needed updates. It didn't get it. And it's going to end up coming off kind of flat to people playing it either for the first time in this generation or coming back to it. It's going to kind of ruin their memory of it, I think. And that's kind of a bummer. My cons for Mario Sunshine are, while the sprayer is great, there is no way to uninvert the access, and I can't stand inverted access, and it is a giant problem for me in this game. So I'm constantly aiming down when I should be aiming up, and aiming up when I should be aiming down, and that drives me nuts. So if you're going to make a game where you have to aim and shoot at something, you need that choice of invert or whatever. And back in the day, they didn't really have that choice. That accessibility option wasn't really there. That being said, again, we're in 2020. This would have been an easy adjustment to make to the game that would have made such a difference in the long run, I feel like. Then my cons for Super Mario Galaxy. Okay, so mostly Super Mario Galaxy is literally the reason to drop the $60 for this game. It is just one of the best Marios ever made, in my personal opinion. However, when they switched over the controls, they switched over the motion controls, so you have to literally hold the joypads, one in each hand. And I never really loved that for the Wii. That was just how the Wii worked. You had the nunchuck thing. So I don't really love that here. It's a little bit cumbersome, a little bit annoying. It's better than it was with the nunchuck. You can also reset the pointer real quick and easy. The pointer is related to the controller, not necessarily related to the screen, so you don't have to worry if you're pointing at the right place on the screen as long as you keep resetting the pointer to where you know it is. It's That's really nice. It's better than the Wii was. However, it's still not really great, and I very much prefer playing this in handheld. And that's a little bit of a bummer. I would have liked a way to play this in non-handheld mode. I'm not quite sure how they would have done this better, personally, but I just feel like I need to say something about it because it annoyed me a little bit. All right. So whether or not I'm going to stick with it, I'm definitely going to stick with it, at least for Super Mario Galaxy. I already have 50 stars in that game, and I plan on getting as many as I possibly can. It's a great game on the handheld. I love playing it when my kid's falling asleep. It's absolutely perfect for those in-between moments where I'm not going to go down and boot up my computer, but I have some time to play a game. Mario Sunshine and Mario 64. I don't know if I'm going to go back to 64. Honestly, the game is frustrating beyond recognition going back to it in its current state in 2020. Mario Sunshine, I've actually gone back to a couple of times, and I'm actually getting a little bit of a taste for it. The inverted access thing is really bothering me, but on a whole, I think it's a well-made game. I think the other thing about Sunshine that's a little bit weird is Mario always has this kind of weight to movement. He kind of has a little stutter step when he starts moving and slides a little bit when he stops, and that's not the way it is to Sunshine. So if you're playing right from Galaxy or 64, you're kind of timing things with that weight of Mario's movement, and he doesn't have that in Sunshine. So you end up like, while it's a better way of moving, it kind of almost throws you off a little bit. But yeah, so I think I'm going to play some more Sunshine. I'm definitely going to play Mario Galaxy as much as I possibly can, and 64 I'm very much on the fence for. But there it is. There's my horrible review of 3D All-Stars. I hope this helped you guys. Of course, you can reach us on Facebook at OldManGamingDH, on Twitter at OldManGaming9. You can join our Discord. The link is in the description below. You can influence this and all of our shows from there. Please, if you like this, click the like, click the subscribe, and share us. We would love to keep talking to you. We love to make these, and yeah, every time you do, you give an old guy, a few old guys a chance at a dream. So we'll see you guys next week. Until then, as long as you guys keep watching and listening, we'll keep making them.